Orelvis Martinez has really turned his season around, and he's been unbelievable in the minor leagues for the Toronto Blue Jays. He started off horribly. There was talks of him being traded, of him being a non-prospect, but he's only 21 years old, and he just hit his 25th home run in the minor leagues. So he's been absolutely raking, and he's been soaring up the prospect rankings as a result of that. So we'll break that down and much more on this episode of Jay's Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse, and a huge win by the Toronto Blue Jays against the Oakland A's. They won 6-5 in extra innings. You don't want it to be that close against Oakland, but at this point of the season, a win is a win, and the Jays are now half a game back of the Texas Rangers for that final wild card spot. And if they go ahead and sweep the Oakland Athletics, they will be guaranteed to be in that final wild card spot. So they're going to be guaranteed to be in a playoff spot if they can go ahead and take care of business, which they should do in Oakland. It was a bit nervy at times today, but they ultimately came out victorious. But we want to talk about Orelvis Martinez, Nick, and he's been raking in AAA Buffalo ever since he got called up there. There's talks of him being the third baseman on opening day by next season for the Toronto Blue Jays. I still think Addison Barger is a little bit closer to that moniker than he is. But damn, is he just tearing the cover off the ball for the Bisons right now?
Yeah, he's been on fire. And with all these, Buffalo Bisons getting called up for the Blue Jays and playing so well, I figured it'd be a good time to talk about this. Before we get into it, make sure to hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 8,000. And like you said, huge win for the Jays yesterday. As of the time of recording, it's today, but this video will be going up for you guys tomorrow. But Orelvis has been on fire. We see Ernie Clement playing so well. Davis Schneider, Spencer Horwitz had a huge hit today. Orelvis Martinez might be next up. And that AAA hitting coach, I believe it's Matt Haig, he needs to get a raise. He needs to get something going. And what a time to talk about Orelvis Martinez. So yesterday, or the day before on September 2nd, Orelvis Martinez continues to showcase, hitting his 25th home run overall in the season yesterday. And Peter, we made a video at him a month or two ago and on his kind of rise. And we discussed it on live streams, our pregame shows. We just used to discuss it on videos about how much Orelvis Martinez was struggling to begin the year. He wasn't in the top 100 prospect rankings. And I'll show you a couple of the prospect rankings and some of his stats here in a minute. But first, Peter, what are your thoughts on his rise? We both were pretty high on him for the most part. We kind of preferred Addison Barger, especially when Orelvis Martinez was hitting in the high 100s to start the year. He has a high K rate, but his power is coming along, his hitting's coming along, and Matt Haig of the AAA coaching staff is working wonders on not only Orelvis, but the rest of these hitting players that are up, even right now with the Blue Jays, like Clement, Schneider, and Horwitz.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's a coincidence that the minute his plate discipline started to improve and the minute that he formed into an all-around hitter and not just a pure power guy, that his numbers skyrocketed. And you look at his OPS, it's over 800. He's starting to draw a lot more walks. He's not striking out as much. And we were very down on him at the start of the year, and a lot of Blue Jay fans were. But how could you be? Because the power is as good as any prospect in the minor leagues, not just for the Blue Jays, for any team in the minor leagues. His power stands out, and that's what has kept him on these top 100 lists for so long. But now he's really starting to tap into that approach, and you could tell that he's got special potential out there in the batter's box, but he just has to put it all together. And he's only 21 years old. He's only going to get better. I don't know if he's going to be the starting third baseman come next season if Matt Chapman walks. He's definitely got a good chance, a better chance of doing that than he did this year. But what a 180 for him, We were so down on him. It was looking like the Jays might want to sell high on him, and his prospect ranking is just going to keep getting lower and lower and lower, but it's not the case now. And I know we look at the MLB top 100 prospects, Nick, and that's what we base a lot of our opinions off of. But I look at the Just Baseball top 100, and Aram Layton does a great job. He gives like a full in-depth perspective as to why he ranks players where. And he ranked Orelvis Martinez as the 68th best prospect in all of baseball. And that was super encouraging for me because this guy loves his minor league baseball. He loves following these prospects. And you know who he was ranked just ahead of? Christian Encarnacion Strand, who has been hitting pretty well for the Cincinnati Reds. He hasn't been tearing the cover off the ball. He hasn't been an everyday player for them, but he's someone that's contributing at the major league level. And if Aram Layton, a baseball expert, a minor league prospect expert, thinks that Orelvis Martinez is ahead of Christian Encarnacion Strand, then sign me up for that because I'll be all in on that train.
Yeah, and I got some stuff from MLB Pipeline here, which is, of course, MLBs that you're discussing. He cracked the top 100. I believe he's now ranked 96th or whatever it is. But again, they're a bit more, they favor different things, and that's always going to be subjective. But if you're in the top 100, you're a very, very good prospect. And looking at his tools here, we've used this before. The grade goes from 20 being the worst to 80 being the best. And Orelvis has a 60, so he has plus power and he has a plus arm. And his hit tool is slowly going up. I believe it used to be 40 before this season. It's just all slowly going up, and he's being such a vast improvement to his approach. Again, we can credit Matt Haig for that. And you can pause this and read this if you want. It's a little, monologue about it and how his potential is to be special. He's working on his plate discipline and things like that. But the biggest thing for him, and we always discuss this even when we were down on Orelvis Martinez, he has one of the highest ceilings out of any prospect in the MLB because of his power. You don't get many guys like that in the prospect pools at all any given year, and the Jays happen to have him. And like you mentioned, looking at his stats now, you can see in Double-A, he finished with a 226 average, but an 824 OPS because of his hot end and his 17 home runs. But in AAA Buffalo, his OPS is about 50 or 60 points higher. His home run, he has 8 home runs in 38 games, and his, against better pitching in AAA, his approach has not lingered at all. His approach has gotten better, and his hitting has not taken any steps back. And he's a guy that, I don't know, maybe with some MLB, coaching as well, he could go on a tear. Maybe similar, some people say similar to Joey Gallo, but I think he has the potential to be a really, really special player for the Blue Jays. Most likely next year. It depends where, though, given the crazy offseason that we're going to have.
Yeah, I think he's got a much higher ceiling at the plate than Joey Gallo. Obviously, Joey Gallo is a special defender and can play multiple outfield spots. And that's the one thing with Orelvis, is his defense going to be able to translate to the MLB level? That's a big question mark on him, because anyone that you replace Matt Chapman with is going to be a downgrade defensively. And we're just going to have to come to accept that as Blue Jay fans. But if you can downgrade defensively, you could at least hope to upgrade offensively. And I think Orelvis Martinez has star potential as an offensive bat. And you look at those numbers in AAA, and 880 something OPS. It's special. That's special, and it's gotten better and better and better. And he started off pretty slow. He didn't hit the ground running with the Buffalo Bisons, but he's gotten consistently better. And you could tell that he's just improving at a phenomenal level. He was starting slow, but now he's really starting to tap into that power, starting to tap into that approach. And you talked about that hit tool as well. It's at 45 now. It was at 30 to start the season, Nick. So that's a 15-point jump. And 50 is average. That's what their grade is. 50 means you're an average scale. So he's a bit below average in that sense, but he's got plus power, and he's a 55 overall prospect. So he's got above average potential, and I could even bargain that he's got star to superstar potential.
Yeah, and that's why you'll see on some prospect rankings, people in different, analysts value different things. He will be higher on some, and I'm sure he'll be lower on some prospect rankings as well. But looking at the tools, like you said, he has plus power, and he has a very, very good arm, which is why he kind of projects as a third baseman. If he can get that field tool, which is slightly below average, up to even league average with his power, he could be a third baseman or maybe somewhere in the infield. Of course, you have Addison Barger to worry about as well as I'm playing some outfield. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see. And we wanted to just touch on this specifically because the Blue Jays, their team right now, they're fielding around, on an average day, 4, former Buffalo Bisons. You have Horwitz, you have everyone, and everyone is contributing in their own way. And the shout out again to the AAA coach, Matt Haig. And I don't know, the Blue Jays are now close to a playoff spot. The Rangers lost again, which is the ideal situation, is that I think the Astros sweep the Rangers because we play the Rangers very, very soon. But any final thoughts on this of the Jays' upcoming games before I wrap up this video? It was a pretty fun one to talk about a prospect for all amidst this craziness.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about him this time next year when he's contributing to a playoff run or to a stretch run for the Toronto Blue Jays. I think he's got that kind of potential. You got to take care of business here in these upcoming games. You got 2 more against Oakland. Then you got Kansas City, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Then you got that big series against Texas. And when we're looking at the standings at the end of the year, that could be the one that decides everything.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. It's a fun time to watch the Blue Jays. It's frustrating, but ultimately, the playoffs are a lot closer than they were just 1 week ago. But that'll wrap up the video. Thank you guys for watching. See you tomorrow.
Thanks.